Revenge Served Cold, Story 4.
I've known for years that my husband was cheating, but I waited until our prenup expired before I divorced him. I was the typical stay-at-home wife who was married to the average conservative asshole. We started out with the understanding that I would be the homemaker and he would be the provider. I knew going into the marriage that would be our setup. And I was okay with it. A few days before our wedding, he surprised me with a prenup. I said, surprised, because if you saw us, you wouldn't think any of us had any asset to protect, much less from each other. Also, we never talked about it at all. When I asked why, he told me that we would be together forever and whatever was in that paper, it was just for our peace of mind. If I loved him, it wouldn't matter. I was stupid and naive. I signed. Fast forward to 6 years after we married, I found out he had been cheating on me for years. I didn't know for how long exactly, but evidence showed that he had been cheating on me from the start. And based on what I uncovered, he wasn't exactly scared that I would find out because I was financially dependent on him and it would be better for him to just cut me off if I even squealed. Of course I was livid. I wanted to confront him and even send him to the hospital if I could. But I had 2 small children with him. It wouldn't do me any good if I happened to just, accidentally, put rat poison in his food. My children would grow up without their parents. I had enough pride left for myself that I wanted to leave him right then and there. But then I remembered the prenup. I would be left with nothing. And as a stay-at-home wife with barely any qualifications and experience to enter the job market, I would be left destitute. Knowing my husband, he would fight really hard to leave me with nothing. I checked the prenup because I barely remembered a date on it. I didn't read it thoroughly when I signed it, but there was something there, I knew. And wouldn't you know it, there's an expiration date. It said there that neither party would leave with what they had before they entered the marriage if we didn't last for 10 years. It's a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo, but that expiration date made a mark in my mind. I took a picture of the pages and sent them to my best friend, who had just graduated law school then. She translated the contract to me, telling me that I needed to stay for 10 years before the contract was dissolved and I could get 50% of what he had. 10 years is 4 more years from that day. My best friend told me to please hang on because we both knew my husband wouldn't even think twice about taking the children from me if I divorced him then. My husband was also the only child of his father, who was what could be best described as asset-rich. His mother already passed, so it was only his father alive back then. It was sure that my husband would get everything when his father died. And while my in-law wasn't outright cruel to me, he also expected me to be at his beck and call when he visited. He had this outdated thinking that women should be subservient to men, and my husband also got this kind of thinking from him. But fortunately, father-in-law did not have the best of health. I had been bringing him food every day, he lived just a few minutes away from us, and taking care of his laundry and everything because he was already alone. His time would come soon. My best friend, Marie, helped me concoct a plan that would guarantee that I would still get half of everything. But this would involve a sacrifice on my part. I should act like nothing happened and that I was still in the dark about his affair. I should act like a loving wife as I was before I found out everything. I should still welcome his touches but careful not to get pregnant again. And so my long play acting started. I resented my husband but acted like a loving wife. I got myself in a birth control so I could still act like I wanted a 3rd child while secretly loathing his touches. I still made sure his father still could boss me around while tending to him. Took 2 years before his father died, big C of the lungs. I acted all sad and supportive while secretly happy that my husband got his inheritance while we were still together. 2 more years I had to fake it. And of course, my husband's extracurricular activities with his longtime lover continued. I wasn't expecting him to end it. I had to drive far to have myself checked if I got any disease because I was so sure, and I was right, that my husband wasn't faithful to his mistress. By the 10th year of our marriage, I surprised him with divorce papers. He didn't celebrate our anniversary anymore, but I made sure to make a big spectacle of it. I reserved dinner at a good restaurant and dressed well for the occasion, 2 days later with the excuse that I could only reserve a weekend seat. Marie again helped me with hiring a good divorce lawyer. My lawyer had everything ironed out, assuring me that I would be getting half of his everything if I filed papers after 10 years. Hence, I filed divorce a day late, just to make sure, and had the dinner 1 more day later. The look on my husband's face when I handed him the papers was the sweet revenge I was waiting for. He recovered and smugly told me about the prenup. I handed him a copy of our prenup with annotations from my lawyer. I told him he could challenge the contract himself, but I doubt the court would side with him. And finally, I thanked him for giving me half of his inheritance and his own money. I already had sent our kids and my bags to his father's house. That was left empty and unsold because my husband couldn't part with it. But now it belonged to him, which also meant it belonged to me. My husband threatened to drag this thing in court. I had never seen him so angry, and it felt so good to see him almost having a coronary infarction due to anger. Fast forward to 5 years, I am now a rich woman receiving child support for my 2 children because my husband, who initially tried to block me from seeing the children, lost the custody case. With the money I received from my marriage, I was able to invest in apartments so I could have passive income. I thank my best friend for making me think with my brain and hold on for a few more years to exact my revenge.
If you liked this story, please give it a like. Help the channel out by sharing the video and following us for more everyday people's stories. Check out past videos too while you're here. Thank you very much.